What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 7, picking up from Summon Water Village. So the first thing we're going to be doing this episode is taking out your next boss, which is the Mariner. Now, Mariners are actually extraordinarily easy boss fights. It's this guy right here in the little canoe, so he can summon up the undead, and he is considered to be undead himself. Other than that, he can go way up into the air, do his big splash AoE, try to smack you with his paddle, but he kind of just sits there and lets you beat on him. Now, since he is considered to be undead, what you're going to want to do is going over here and throwing Sacred Blade. Does not matter about your build. I know this is more of a Faith Ash of War. However, it's more of a tool than anything else. So we can go set the affinities to Sacred. Now, when you take out the undead, not the bosses, but regular undead, they tend to come back, and you have to smack them while they're on the ground glowing. You guys know this. However, if you have Holy on your weapon, it has to be Sacred Blade, not regular Holy. But it'll kill them in one shot. Not to mention, they're also very weak to Holy. So with this on, we're going to be doing a lot of damage to this guy. Check it out. Boom. And then afterwards, our weapon's going to be buffed, with Holy for, I think, about a minute. So it allows you to just really go ahead and beat on this guy. It's very, very easy. So a lot to know in this game. It makes life a little bit easier. And that ought to do it. And there you are. Like I said, probably the one of the easier fights within the game for sure. Now, taking him out is going to get you a few things. Death Root is going to be a quest item for your upcoming quests we're going to start. We will cover that. And then Skeletal Militiaman Ashes. At this point, they're probably the best ashes you're going to have, aside for Ingval. The thing with Ingval is you're going to have a lot more into your mind stat. So you have a lot more mana and, just the requirements to use this, because he has a mana cost of 100. Right now, if you look at your stats, FP, we only have 95, So I think you probably have to have like 20 in mind to use him. He's phenomenal. These aren't even close to him. But for anyone that doesn't have that much invested, Skeletal Militiamen are great because they're going to keep coming back to life. And to be honest, enemies and bosses, AI in the game, are not going to think to hit them twice, right? So keep that in mind. Now, we already came here earlier and got you guys a talisman, so there's really just a few things. So right over here behind, this is the other spot he might spawn in the boss. So behind that, you're going to get the Smithing Stone, Trina's Lilies, and then there's just a few loose loots as we go through the ruins themselves. And we may have even grabbed some of these as we ran through earlier, but going on the far side, where are you, little pricks? There he is. Like I said, without Sacred Blade, even with Holy, they'll still come back. You got to have, actually the Sacred Blade to keep them down. There it is. So you have your mushroom there. Roll on off, and then if you went straight across, it's kind of like to the right a bit. There is a body over here that had a rune, but like I said, when we came through earlier, we picked that up, and that's right down here on the right there, of that guy. So just make sure you have it if you don't already. Cool, thank you. And then aside from that, the only thing going on is what we grabbed earlier for anyone that didn't follow along with us. It's going to be straight over here where you see all the turtles. You use the Stone Sword key, then you go down there and get a talisman that helps boost stamina regeneration, right? So from here, all we're going to do is just kind of skim through, make sure we're not missing any, drops from enemies that we took out or any loose loots. And yeah, we already did that. So yeah, we're good. All right. Now we have this done. What we're actually going to be doing is jumping way over to Caelid at Bestial Sanctum. Alright, so when you get to the Bestial Sanctum, over here is Garank. Now, his quest is finding Death Root. Death Root are obtained from killing the undead enemies. He eats these and gives them power, but they also kind of corrupt them. Either way, it's a whole quest line. Now, every time you turn these in, you're going to get spells, and the first time we get a few items, new Faith weapon, which is new seal. Eventually, it's super good strength faith weapons, dex faith weapons, and just a lot of spells. Now, the spells here are really unique because it allows like strength and dex and quality builds to actually have access to incantations, as the faith requirement is so low, you guys will have access to some spells. So I think it's pretty good for that. That's mainly what it's for. However, this quest does need to be covered. So first time you hand in Death Root, you're going to get a quest item. You're going to get the Claw Mark Seal. So there's your Claw Mark Seal, which is probably better than one we have. Beast Eye, which is a quest item. Then when we get more Death Root, we'll come back again. Now, like I said, This one's better than one we have. So E Strength, C Faith. This is DD. But when it gets upgraded, it's really, really good. It's actually going to boost bestial incantations. Now, as we turn Death Roots, we'll be getting a lot of incantations for him that are boosted by this seal. So now that we have that turned in, we've actually started with that quest. What we're going to be doing is jumping back to Summon Water Village and just making our way down this road. So, as mentioned, we already did all of Central and Lower Limgrave. So if you notice this lighter area up here, all this is uphill, right? So it all kind of goes together. And it can be confusing. You might feel like you're missing stuff because there's a lot of, structures and platforms and, higher levels, lower levels, medium levels. So it can be a little confusing. However, only thing that's left is everything in the light areas of the map. So it's pretty easy to keep track of. So now that we have 15,000, we took out the dragon at the end of last episode. We had like 12,000 left. We need to start, putting these in. Look at that. So 2 more, and then we'll get back into health. I just decided to go into stamina a bit. Typically, you want to try to get 40 health before you go into anything else. But I want to try to boost our rate limit a bit. That way we can start, having better weapons on, wearing better armor sets, stuff like that. So you're going to notice that D has left. Where you met him in his first spot. He's at the round table hold, which you've already seen. There's a couple undead that pop up here. If you guys want to fight him, you can. There's no real reason besides I like this guy's shield and I really want to get it, but he doesn't like to just drop it. No, he's not going to drop it for it. There's opening for it. Stingy little fucker. Yeah, but I do really like that shield he has. It's just a solid medium shield. They're kind of rare in this game. The DLC has some phenomenal ones, but that is a long time. It's 100 hours off. So, it's your first playthrough. Yes, this is a very big game. So over here is going to be a merchant who's going to sell your crafting books so you can craft turtlenecks. Now these do the same thing as your talisman over there, where it's going to boost your stamina regeneration. Just happens to be in the form of a consumable. So we will go ahead and pick that up. I just like to have them. You guys can look around, the outskirts over here if you want. But you're going to notice, it's just kind of a bunch of open dead space. There's just nothing here. It does make you curious because there's so much, space over there, but there's no items. You're going across the bridge for whatever reason. This guy, now we've fought these guys before, Pumpkinheads, but this guy like spazzes out. He almost like glitches out with just headbutt, just over and over and over. He just goes ape shit with it. Yeah, he just won't stop for a while. There he is. And you can farm that helm. It's badass. It does well with blocking a lot of hits because it's so beefy, but that's the thing. It's beefy, it's heavy, so. We'll go ahead and rest and refresh very briefly. I'm going to go ahead and switch my Ash of War back. Well, no, we got a Catacomb with Undead, so we'll leave it on for now. Holy's okay. I like fire better. Alright, so as we go up the main road, you're going to hear someone kind of yelling at you. This is Alexander. So what you're going to do is go over here to the left-hand side, go uphill. Now, Alexander is an NPC. He has, another one. His quest lasts the whole game. It leads to a really good talisman that boosts your damage of weapon arts by 30%. But you need to do his whole quest. It's more of a new game plus item or an item to bring to the DLC because you get it so late. But we do need to cover its quest. So you're going to see him around the world a few times where he gets stuck. And he's going to mention a festival in Caleb. This festival is a big battle. And, that's kind of where his quest is leading you. You'll be able to summon him for one of the more difficult boss fights. But aside from that, he is a race of Jar people. So these Jar people are a race of warriors. They take the remains of the, the dead that have died during battle and pack it into themselves, and it makes them stronger. And so you get a little bit of dialogue and lore into that, going through his dialogue. But right now he's stuck and he wants us to help him out. So all we're going to be doing is exhaust his dialogue, go behind him, charged heavy. There you go. If you don't have any upgrades, it probably takes 2. Don't worry. We won't break them here. You could potentially at the next spot, but we'll go over that then.
Well, aye.
The exalted flesh.
Once again, pleasure is mine. I am the warrior Jar known as Alexander. Iron Fist Alexander. I journey to the east, where I intend to further my education in the ways of war. And beyond these lands lie the scarlet, rot-blighted Caelid Wild, and upon their southern edge is Redmane Castle, in which a festival of combat is being held. I'd heard whispers of such festivities before. Doesn't the notion set your breast aflutter?
Yeah, so he's a fan favorite. Alexander's cool as shit, but I figure I'd let that play out for you guys. Might be able to explain it better than, you know, I can, right? I do my best, but sometimes I can get you all the items, explain the lore, you know. It's not my strong suit. I feel like I can do a decent job with it, but not as good as a lot of other people. Remember, you're targeting their feet here, guys. You don't really have to fight these guys. Anyway, they need attention. Dragonfly heads are actually needed, and you want to try to pick up as many as possible. The reason for that is you need them to craft your boluses. Remember, your boluses are going to cleanse the status effects, so you're going to need them for that. Either way, once you talk to Alexander, there's not really much happening here. Down here, below, you're going to see Mr. Troll just kind of off by himself, but you're also going to notice there's, you know, not really any items there. I guess at the same time, we'll just jump back to Saints Bridge. Now, before we go any more forward, what we're going to have to do is go back over the bridge. I just want to knock Alexander, because he's right there. But if you go back to where this guy's, just jump down to the right. It's going to be a spirit spring. Now, this will take you straight on out for a few squid guys, and next to our earlier area, we don't need to do this. What we are going to do is turn around. Take you guys into a really neat cave. But first, as you go this way, you're going to notice a cliff up top. It's not crazy rewarding, but it does give us some crafting that is more rare, I guess you could say. Not royal fruit, you know, obviously, but right down here, it's going to drop you by the waterfront, and there'll be a body, and get over this little bush right here, with your turtleneck meat for your pickled turtlenecks. Now, also, too, you'll find little areas in the game that's, like, sitting right in the water. It's really cool just to take in sometimes, you know, especially over there by Summon Water. There's a back area of the ruins there. We look over the water, and you can see the herb trees. It's actually quite remarkable. Because we're doing a walkthrough, doesn't mean you guys shouldn't take it in and, you know, enjoy it in your own time. Now, as soon as you drop back down, you're going to notice a little cave right here. You can't really miss it. It's, like, right by the water, and that's our destination. Now, mainly, this is wolves and bats. Yeah, it's nothing too crazy. It doesn't take long to get through it. It's actually pretty damn big. One of the biggest caves in the game, like just the sheer size of it, because it's like really deep and hollow. But it just doesn't really take long. So what we're going to do is turn on our lantern. And we're going to have to do a series of drops. So just look for your, you know, your platforms to land. Get your cave moss. We'll run on into the left side first. Take him. Take him. Thank you. Then we're going to go down that hole, but first, just make sure you get all this cleared out. So use your lock on a couple wolves. Kind of like hide in the bushes, so to speak. So. Alpha, crafting for bow builds. We said that before, if you're trying to do a bow build, you're going to need to craft a lot of your own arrows. So farming up the wolves is going to get you thin beast bones, which are used for arrows. Bolts, stuff like that. Alright, so with all that done, we can start dropping down. There we go. So as soon as you drop down, just cave moss and a dead end. Looks like illusionary wall, it's not. Now, when you go down here, you're going to get a fork in the road. Doesn't really matter which way you go, but if you go straight, it's down first, yeah. So you can go left or straight, but if you go straight, you're going to miss some hatred. It's a crafting item, but it's like super rare. So right where you see these, you're just going to break on through. So Atrial leaves is really good. It's just, there's not many. You just gotta hopefully find them out in the world. I can't even think of anyone to farm for them, but they're a resource used for like exalted flesh with really good consumables. But you still don't find enough, so you want to make sure you always get those. For sure, because exalted flesh, remember that's a 20% damage boost, but they're trying to limit how many you can use. That's why they're making you use Atrial leaves. And if you drop down here and just work to go to the right, that's the other path. Just ensure you're not missing anything, which, as you see, we're not. All right, now we could actually go on into the cave. As soon as you come in here, you're going to see a stake America in case you get killed. What we're going to do is we're going to drop off this and immediately turn around. Get that. Get him. Get him. And try to be patient too. It's so easy to fall off of here. There's only one spot to drop down. If you miss that spot, you're going to get killed. So instead, we're going to drop here. Drop in the waterfall. Go to the left. You. Smithing 2. Now right back here for your room. Alright, so from here we're going to drop down. But like I said, it's a tight spot. If you don't have your lantern, you might not even see it. But right below you, luckily for me, there's a note. If you can't see, it's like right where that pillar is. So you got to drop right here. If you miss this, when you jump in water in this game, it's like falling off a cliff. You can't swim, so don't want to do it. We're going to run, drop attack. We're not swinging our weapon at all, right? Shaman Shear's a decent curve sword if you're trying to do like a dual curve sword build, which are exceptionally powerful in this game. That would give you one option, which you can make better with Ashes of War. Maybe put some blood loss on it. Alright, now we're going to go over here to the left. And you could have went to the right, but that's the boss, so we don't want to do that yet. But we will be able to loop around. Now it's going to be a really big squid. I like to just rush him down and try to get that charge heavy before he can really do anything. So I'm already charging it up before it lands. Oh, that's... Thank you. Okay, you don't have him long. See a couple dead guys. Caden sells swords. Why is it always death? It's because it's a FromSoft game, that's why. This is a multiplayer item just to help you summon other players. Then we're just going to jump into this waterfall, and this will take you into the boss fight. Probably the easiest boss of the game. I know I said that about the Mariner, but there's a few like that. So this is just a golden, guys. We've already showed you how to take him out. 2 charge heavies, critical, done. That's all there is to it. So going in, before he's even really getting up, he's going down. The fight's done. So we're gonna drop him, get to his chest, critical, big damage. That's it. Simple fight. Gonna get you a talisman. Blue Dancer Charm. So the lighter your equip load, the more damage you'll do. But it's not good unless you're doing like a dagger build. Maybe katana builds can benefit, but you're going to be wearing rags and using very light weapons to get the best from that. Alright, so from here, we're getting back on the main road. So that's about where we met Alexander, like right here. But this time we're going to go to the right. Let's kind of go up here, grab a talisman, and then we're going to circle back for a catacomb right here. We don't really need these on the map, but just to show you guys, what we're trying to do. Gonna check our time. 20 minutes, looking good. So typically we only do like 30-minute episodes, but with Elden Ring being so big, I decided to go for an hour. So that gives us plenty of time to finish up the top portion. We're looking good. So there will be a few groups of soldiers and demi-humans, nothing, nothing crazy. Remember to use that shield. You're looking good. And here's your demi-humans. These guys aren't so bad right now. Once you get to like mid-game, a lot bigger versions of these guys will start facing a lot. They can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. Smaller ones are, literally cannon fodder for the most part. Alright, so once we got them clear, we go straight on back. You're going to see the golem on the ground. We should be able to kill him once again before he even gets up. Charge heavy. Charge heavy, make him do a little flip. Look at that. He just flipped right up in the air. It's fun. Critical. Easy 1100 souls. 10, 1000, whatever it was. And then right here is going to be your Lance Talisman. So this is going to enhance your attacks while you're on horseback. Now, my first playthrough, I put on talismans that complemented my build, but to get the best of, situational uses, you're like always maintaining your talismans and swapping things out. For the walkthrough, I have a really, really good setup for the recommended build. We'll pretty much keep, but we may have like one swap spot, meaning, something we can swap out here and there. Because stuff like that, is situational, because we can go on, we're fighting a knight's cavalry or someone that's on horse. We put that slot. While we're fighting on our horse, we're getting increased damage. So it's just smart to keep the best stuff on at all times in this game. Alright. So going on into the Death-Touched Catacombs. If you start the game with the samurai, with the katana, good news is you can get a second one here and dual-wield katanas, which is very powerful with the blood loss and everything else. Or if you just want one, we'll get you one here. With that being said, I've left on Sacred Blade. No matter what your build, once again, this is more of a tool than anything else, and you are going to want this on. It's going to make the, whole trip through this place much easier, because this is nothing but undead. And with that, we'll be able to, put these guys down. Once we get stronger and better weapons and stuff later on, it's not something we always have to do, because your weapon will just smack them down once, and then you hit them again and kill them quickly. But right now, I think it's nice. I think we have a straggler up top. I missed one? Oh, there's two being up there. Now, buff doesn't last forever, but it does help you, clear most of these guys out. We're not going out this way, but while we're buffed, we're just trying to take as many with us as we can for right now. Alright, so come down the stairs, we're going to go underneath to the right. Your spear upgrade. Take him. Okay. I like to try to stay buffed the whole time. So right here you're going to see a little path. We're going to run all the way down. There will be a couple skeletons at the end. Right here. Get him, get your globe work. Now this game puts you up top. So if you don't go this way, you won't be able to reach it. There's the Uchi Katana. They don't want to spawn until you run away from their position. I hate that. They will not spawn until they can try to get behind you. Very cowardly in nature, if you will. Cute. We're going to drop on down. Now, if we run all the way back up, they should all hopefully just spawn so we can start putting them down. Because they'll keep coming and coming for a bit. I want to see even maybe another one might even spawn up top again. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're thorough enough to take them all out, but they do, man. They just come and come and come and come. Keep in mind, you don't have to fight them. You could run past them, but, it's levels, so. Go on ahead and grab Blood Rose, pretty rare crafting item. And there's your boss door. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Yep, see how more came out? Like I said, they'll just come and come and come. Did we get to? Yeah, we did. None spawned up top. There you go, scimitar. So if you're trying to do dual curved sword builds, you've already picked up, a couple. I mean, you're only going to have the one guaranteed, which is Shamshir. But if you could pull off some drops from enemies, there you go. Now, if you look, None of these have blood loss, so what you're going to have to do is add, blood loss affinities. Now, you only have one actual word that does blood loss, but you could actually duplicate these with your blacksmith if you have the right materials. But yeah, so I would like to show this off, because there are a lot of build types people don't know about, so you'd have to do dex for this for sure. Did I not put it on the right? Oh, you'd want to do a dex build with this, but you can get two curved swords, both with blood loss affinity, and then using L1, you're just really, pile on damage. Like, that's good for status effects. When you jump attacks, you get 4 hits, come out really good, and then the running attack's super good too. You see that? So it's just a really, really powerful playstyle if you don't care for shields. But even if you like parries, you could put the parry on this sword and then set a blood loss affinity, so you still get blood loss build up, but then you can parry with the sword itself. So it's just a lot of stuff you could really do in this game. But the fact of the matter is there's probably a lot of things that people don't think about, right? This is something I didn't really pay attention to for a while. But you spend a lot of time in the game, you test out different things. But yeah, there's a lot of builds, there's a lot of obscure builds that you can come up with. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. The only thing that holds you back in these games is your own creativity. That's it. So this next boss, lore-wise, you're going to notice the boss starts with a little bit less health. It's because something has happened, with the story, obviously, why she's down here, which explains why she's here. But these are your Black Knife Assassins. Black Knife Assassins are all female. They're the ones responsible for the shattering, which caused the whole story to take place. Shattering is what the Elden Ring was broken. They're the ones who, was responsible for this by killing the first demigod. So you're going to run into one down here. They're kind of a pain in the ass. Their moveset's crazy. They slip and slide around and go all over the place. First one's not bad. This fight starts with half her health, right? But they're using daggers. This one's not bad, but they will have a super buffed up holy effect later in the game, but guard counters work, dodging works good. You can backstab them a lot of the times. But yeah, they just kind of slide all around. They're really good at creating distance and closing distance for that matter. Yeah, they're good. As you see, they're good. We're better. Not really a difficult fight. Later they will be, we'll cover that more then, but right now, half its health is gone. Every attack it does, your shield for the most part is blocking. Root resin is very, very much worth a mention. So root resin can only be farmed for the most part in catacombs, right? Now there are certain underground areas in the world that has root resin, but this is the material needed to craft weapon buffs like fire grease and magic grease. You want to make sure you get as much as you possibly can get. And then we'll pick up our next death root. So we're going to jump back to Grank. We're going to turn this in. Get you guys your first incantation for physical builds, we'll call it. And that's what bestial incantations are for. Those that don't want to put a heavy investment into faith. Because you can get like 15 faith and just do a straight quality build. Probably get, 60, 60, 55, 55 strength dex. But still have access to spells. That's what the purpose of this is. So we'll turn in our next death root. That's bestial sling, just let you throw like a scatter shot of rocks out. But if you were to look at the requirements for these incantations, you're going to notice they're low, very low. So going on over here, look at that, 10 faith, right? 10 faith, that's it. So swiftly fling numerous sharp rock shards. I don't think they're the flashiest incantations. I mean, there's only one or two that are actually good, in my opinion, compared to the other incantations, but it does give physical builds access to these things, and that's, the big thing. Either way, guys, with that done, we're all clear up to right here. Now, if you were to stay on the main road from here, it'll take you into a camp, but there's just a much better way to enter this place. So what I like to do, I think we should do all this. We get that, we dropped it. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to pick up from War Master Shack. Alright, so Bernal's still here. I think he leaves when you take out Market. There's some kind of trigger for him to move on. So while we're here, let's go ahead and try to grab a level. Change it to morning. Alright, so first things first, what we're going to be doing is from the War Master Shack. It's a little hard to see, but there's a trail, right? They'll lead over here. And this is a coliseum. This is where people do invasions and stuff. But there's items to get, and there's an invasion event that will occur right here. This guy's not that bad, but he has one move where he can just ultra slam with his great mace, and it lands a, it'll create like a lava pool on the ground that will tear through your health. So that is one thing you're going to want to watch out for, but other than that, it's really not that bad. So you should be getting kicked off a torrent. Anytime you're out in the world and you just happen to get kicked off a torrent, it's not like a glitch or a malfunction, it's because you're about to be invaded. We don't need our holy ash of war. I want to take that off. We actually get that weapon for strength, so it's like, damn, I love that great mace. I want that great mace. We'll get that in the arena. Like fire. You're just going right through it. That's no fun. You're no fun. Thank you. And there you have it. Not a hard fight. So taking him out is going to get you the Hammer Talisman. So this is more for PvP than anything else. I mean, you could use it against certain enemies, but what this does is it does more stamina damage if the enemy is blocking, meaning you'll be able to break their stance a lot easier. That's why I said it's better for PvP, because that's what people are doing. They're blocking your attacks with great shields so they can try to put you down. Well, that's going to break their stance easier. Either way, so we took that road up, your evasion, we got our loose loot. And what we're going to be doing is, this is actually up top, and then that drops down where we just were, right? So if you go right over here, there's a building right here with a scarab, with a somber, and then a guy right here we need to take out. So I'm not going to leave those up, but it's kind of looping around, right? Doing a solid loop. This guy's, you know, more of an elite soldier, and this is one of those super obscure things. So this gets you an Ash of War. This is a guaranteed drop. That's why I say kill every enemy and clear your areas in full when you go through this game. For one, for anyone wonder like how you get so high level at the end, that's it. Just naturally go through and do everything. But there are specific guys you kill that do specific things. It's the only way to hit them is by finding these guys, you know, and taking them down. This gets you a absolutely phenomenal Ash of War. It's very powerful. It's a buff. It's not like a super powerful weapon or what it is, it's a buff. Now that's called Golden Vow. So Golden Vow gives you 15% more defense and 20% more damage per minute. It's really good to like put on dagger, because you would switch to that dagger, use the Ash of War, and then go back to your weapon to have that damage boost. So it's just, you know, smart to use it that way. We get an incantation version of that, so we don't even need to use a Ash of War for it. But it's not for a long time. However, we will have access to it, and that's, you know, when our build really starts getting powerful. By the time we get to mid-game, not just us, but that's where every build starts really getting God mode, about right when we do Mount Gelmir. You know, right at that point, the intelligence builds gets a super strong frostbite weapon that they can carry, you know, through the whole game. Arcane weapons, you're finally starting getting those. Faith weapons, you're getting, you know, the best faith weapons, but, you know, for everybody. So it takes some time. There's still some really cool stuff we can get along the way, but in my opinion, that's where you start getting like the best weapons in the game. Then weapons from that point on, not necessarily better, there's just other choices that are super good, right? So we got a long time, but yeah, when we get to that area, we're going to be looking really good. Either way, guys, once you got that, get your scarab, you're going to see this little corner with the little trees under you. It's almost just dead across the War Master Shack. This is going to drop us down that camp I told you guys about. But if you don't go this way, you'll miss a weapon. So what we're looking for is right here. That little structure. So we're going to drop down, get you the Great Lance. Some people like it. I'm not big into thrusting weapons, even though there's a few that I'll probably use on the walkthrough. Because like some thrusting weapons have the heavy attack where it does like wide swipe, so I like that. But when it comes to like strictly thrusting weapons, not really my thing. I know a lot of people like them though. But that's a solid choice. Look at this thing. huge weapon. You know, it's not really my thing. The one good thing about lances and spears in general, like if you're not really good yet, you started playing the game, you like it, you're still learning, you could literally hold up your shield and you're attacking, but you can't take any damage because your shield's up. You'd have to go high into stamina, but it gets you through the whole game. You know, it's one play style people have adapted to. I think that's I don't want to learn to get better, so I'm going to cheese the game with a shield and a spear build, but, you know, teach his own at the end of the day. Now, once you pick that up, it's important to drop down the right-hand side, because otherwise you're going to get stuck right in the middle of the camp, and that's something you do not want to do. Now, these guys, as you can already see, they're going to be a pain in the ass. Alright, fine. Try to be lazy, you wouldn't know. Okay. Said 1,000 times. Dogs are the worst enemies in the game. Alright, so with that, we're going to drop down in the camp. So there's going to be a few dogs, a lot of foot soldiers, and one more elite guy over here. He's like surrounded by dogs, so see if we can pull a couple guys back first. Thank you. Come on, big boy. So that's why I have daggers, for anyone wondering, like, why is that in my offhand and why I switch to it for critical attack. Daggers have a higher modifier for critical damage, meaning you're going to get more damage using a dagger than a regular weapon. Now, you need to upgrade it too, but if you notice, critical on this weapon is 100, that's 110. So I like to have a dagger. It's just a solid choice. You know, for a really smart build, have a main weapon, then a dagger, and then, you know, the offhand. That way, when you break enemy stagger, you go to the dagger, especially for bosses, and then you're able to get a lot more damage on critical hits. And then there's also buffs that will help with that too, we'll get later on. That's how you just start splitting together early, powerful build. You're good on all sides, you know, incantations, critical attacks, blocking, attacking, so you want to really dial all this stuff in. So, Beast Crest Heater Shield, it's a little bit better than the Starting Shield. Not much. I mean, 100 damage, physical damage negation, but it's got like higher damage negation for magic and fire. I think lower to lightning, but you're not going to run into lightning until like fucking capital a long time from now. So, if you like something that has low damage negation for lightning, don't worry about it until you get to like Altus. Either way, guys, with that, we've wrapped this whole top section up. I'll wrap this up. So now we're going to jump on over to Stormhill Shack. Before we do anything else, we are going to be, me personally, go ahead and put back on Flaming Strike. I wonder if we switch to Bloodhound's Fang for a bit, show that off. That's okay. We'll do Fire. We'll do Regular, that way we can still buff it, and then we'll go ahead and put on Golden Vow for a buff, just in case. Okay, so what we're going to do is, if you were to go this way, this road, that takes you to Margit and then the castle, right? But that's kind of what we're doing next episode, so we're not even going to worry about that. So we're just going to go to the left, clear this whole platform. So we're just going to stick to the left-hand side, go uphill, grab a couple of items, stay around the edges, and then there's a tower right here at Stormgate. This Everjoe, you want to do this last. That's why I've started on the opposite side of the map, because this fight is very difficult. Very difficult. And you guys might not be able to do this now. I mean, I'd recommend you stick with it, try to get past it, but it's okay. It'll be here forever, so you can come back when you're stronger. I like to clear everything as we go, so it's not so much his health or damage, it's just his movesets are really hard. So either way, for now, just sticking to the right-hand side, we're going to go uphill. Get you guys one of the better summons at this point. The Magic Grease. Just a couple items. The big thing, I would say, is the summon. They're going straight back. Remember, the jellyfish aren't so much an enemy as more of an indicator that something's around. So anytime you see a jellyfish, always investigate. Always. There's always something there. We found a somber stone following these guys. Now you find a summon. Later on, there's literally a whole region, a whole fucking area hidden, and your only way you know it's there is because you see some jellyfish. It's fucking crazy. They go around the other side. Where's the magic tree? Up more. I may have already picked it up. Didn't realize it was all these guys here. Nope, there it is. There. Not a big deal, but it's there. Alright, so from there, we're just going to drop down. That's all we wanted. These guys aren't really worth much. It takes a long time to beat them down. And it's just not really worth your time. Now we got that. We're going to stick to the edge. And you're eventually going to see this structure here. That's what we're aiming for. But first, we're going to go grab our starlight shards. So remember, that is going to refill your mana in the form of a consumable. But we want to save those too, because there's a merchant who wants those to give us really rare items. It's not for a while, but we want to stock them up. One of these guys is supposed to come to life. Yeah, right here. Brick 1,000 souls. Easy peasy. Alright, so once you got him down, we're going to be going on top of the structure. This is really just for a gesture, but, you know, it's stuffed, so we're going to get it. Now, always pick these rune fragments up. These are going to be used to craft prism stones. They're really important. Cross legs gesture. I guess, or no, they're not prism stones in this game. I'm getting mixed up with Dark Souls again. Sorry, guys. Rainbow stones. So, these are really good. We're going to do catacombs late game. They're literally not even mazes, like labyrinths. They're very confusing. And what you're going to want to do is leave these so you know where you've been so you don't get lost. But they also will tell you how far you can drop. So, if I was to equip some rainbow stones, and this is worth a mention for sure, because a lot of times you're trying to drop, okay, will I live, will I die, this is how you know. So if I drop a rainbow stone, you can hear it. Okay, that's safe, right? Let's say I went over this way. You see that? That's death. And it's just a good way to keep track for those that, you know, did not know. That's something I didn't know for the longest fucking time in the world. Alright, so from there, we're going to go towards the Everjail, which you can't miss it, but what we're trying to do is get to the left and go right over here at the top part of this tower, the battlement. You'll see those little glowing worms, so you know that the Everjail's there. It's easy to keep track. And this is what we want. So there's going to be a few soldiers here. Or not even soldiers, cell swords. Somebody's got quite a bit of health, don't they? And someone doesn't. There it is. Alright, so this is going to be your next talisman. This is for bow builds, which bow builds are really obscure. It's better for like a quality build that just uses a bow on the side, because if you do like a challenge to go through the game with a bow, you're a madman. I saw one streamer do it, and it's very impressive. But what this does is let your arrows reach a farther distance. There are 2 talismans, top of my head. The game's huge, so it might be more, just farther in my notes. But 2 talismans I know for bow builds. One is going to extend how far you can shoot arrows, and then the other is actually going to do a damage boost. Now from this point, I don't have parry on it. Does it? No, no skill. So if you're trying to learn parries, the smaller shield is going to give you the best chance. No, I took that off. Smaller shield is going to give you the best chance because it has friendlier iframes. So this guy is your Crucible Knight. These guys are really rough, right? So halfway, I guess we'll talk about phase 1. Really big guy, great shield, ultra great sword. He's got a lot of wide swipes, thrust, things like that, but there's really small windows to get damage, so you're really trying to just roll through one attack here, roll through one attack there. But He also has a stomp that does the AoE, so if he stomps, just jump. That's how you avoid it. And if you can use parries, that helps a lot. Phase 2, what he'll do is fly away in the air. This is his incantation phase, where it's still a lot of the same stuff, but he's going to mix in an incantation while fly up and shoot across the arena. And it's really hard to get a heal off. So when he does that, that's the best time to get healed. But just to show you guys, you can parry almost every move. I think you pretty much can parry every move. Go. Yeah, I'm a little rough here. Don't worry, we'll spawn right back in. Yeah, I want to show you guys the parry method because once you learn that, the fight becomes easy. It's actually a really good guy to learn parries on. That's another reason why it's good practice. You don't have to worry about your runes because you have to spawn into Everjails. Now, you don't need to parry. You don't. But I feel like if you guys, spent the time to learn, it would make this fight a lot easier. I'm not saying you have to do it. Just dodge and get hits off. I'll show you that way too. But yeah, the timing's tight. The thrusts are the hardest ones to parry. But like I said, if you get it done, put something like frostbite on your weapon so you get decent damage off. Here it is. You know what I'm saying? It just makes the fight easier. Stop. 1, 2. Oh. A little off there. Like I said, he doesn't like healing. Sometimes you get a decent window. Dodge out. So you could also just sit here and dodge, guys. Get hit here and there. You don't have to parry. I just think it's probably one of the easier ways. Then if you got frostbite or blood loss on your weapon, that will help. Yeah, I knew I was going to face him that one. See what I'm saying? How he doesn't like heals? That's why you really got to read your timing best as possible. You're going to pay for it. So there's halfway. Now this right here, when he does this, just roll through. Now that's a good window to heal. You see all that distance he created? That's where you want to heal. Thank you. Parry. But yeah, if you're struggling with that, just dodge through. No, you're not going to get many hits. If he uses his tail, he'll actually create a lot of distance. He's trying to block out with his shield. Maintain that stamina, obviously, but... Oop, misread. Thank you. There's like a marker, too, for parry timing. You'll see like a little flinch of his elbow, I believe. Yeah, it was 2 right there. 1, 2, heal. We're going to dodge through. Tail swipe. Big tail swipe. So, if you're worried about the dodge timing, like I said, just sit here and try to block through it. Don't kill me right at the end, buddy. Jump. You got me. We'll get him. We got time today. We'll get him. Me personally, I think that's the best method. I will say though, his armor, I do believe, has extraordinarily high resistances to bleed and other statuses. I've noticed. I don't know if you can get blood loss off on him. I feel like you can. It just takes a really long time. I know frostbite works. That's why I mentioned that one. There's nothing really going to be better damage-wise, but what we can do is use Golden Bow. So. For the recommended build, I said that. Get your main weapon. It could be halberd, greatsword, whatever you like. I like greatsword, shield, steel, and dagger because, having that dagger in your offhand, we get the buffs and then more critical damage. So before we even go into the fight, we'll buff up. Right? Switch our weapons. Fire buff. And we're good to go. That way, we just get a damage boost. The fire, offers us extra damage. Golden Bow offers us extra damage. That's just smart. Oh no, you don't. I told you guys, it's a tough fight, man. Really tough fight. For how early in the game it is. You. And since you could almost carry every move he does. It does help to get his health down pretty quick if you line him up. Now remember, we do have markers too, so if you guys can't beat him right now, come back later. Always grab your runes before you go back in, or you will lose those. I might have to buff again. This buff doesn't last that long, so buff again. Buff again. Isn't that the stamina or something? Oh, I'm like, what the hell? Thank you. I'm like, it's time to give you one, buddy. Now try to heal before he gets up. He's probably gonna smack us though. Okay, good. He let off. You see that buff just doesn't last long. The blood flame blade. Block or roll that. 2, 3. Misread it. That's why it's so difficult to do just the shield, man. He's so protected at all times. And then his reach is pretty wild. Dead. But I'm getting really sick of you here. It's time to go home. You need to go back to the Earth Tree. Thank you. And you learn this method, it will become second nature. Because you're going to fight these guys a lot. They don't get easier, guys. They do not. In fact, you're going to love this. There's 2 instances where you have to fight 2 of these guys at once. And then another instance where you have to fight 1 of these guys. And then another really painful enemy you haven't met yet. You're talking about double boss fight. You know, 2 of these guys, it's fucking rough. Go. Damn. Half our health, 1 swipe. You guys see why we put him off for the end of the episode? I mean, honestly, the end of Limgrave to begin with. But yeah, this is why. Bear with me, y'all. We're gonna get him. All those should have landed. You. God, the reach of this guy is ferocious at times. Just dodge. You don't have to parry, you can dodge, but it's tricky both. I mean, no matter how you face this fight, like I said, there's a few ways to do it. There's no easy way, you know what I mean? They're both very difficult. You know, I mean, a lot of our characters are crisp as fuck, but the thing of it is, it only takes you missing a few. Oh, misread. It only takes you missing a few to get put down, you know? You can't make many mistakes here, thing. You are just killing it, you know, you get caught once or twice. That's about all she wrote. Oh, I'm out of heals. But he's got a lot of health left. One. Damn it. We'll get him. We'll get him. It's the only thing left. We gotta get him. Damn. I got one attempt left and we are actually out of time. So if we don't get him, you know, we'll have to come back. But he's in our notes for this episode, so he's gotta go, you know, gotta go. Yeah, I'm almost out of time, so record on PlayStation will automatically cut you off at an hour. So we have just enough time to get this right. Another thing I noticed too with me, every time I go in and I try to buff and all that shit, I never get past. It's when I just go in regular, I do good. Bro. Come on. Buddy. There it is. That's I used to get that one every single time. I don't know what the hell's happening today. Little bits of health, little bits of health. That's it. Come on. Got time for it. Nah, it's time for your fucking shenanigans, brother. You know what I'm saying? If like you learn it, it makes everything so much fucking easier, man. It really does. If you learn it. It's okay. Three minutes. He should be doing his phase 2. I'm not sure why he has not done this. That's okay. He never even went to phase 2. That's gotta be it. We're at the end where I'm like, we don't have time to not kill him. We gotta get him down. So the notes for this episode. Then we go in and not make it look easy, but almost, right? That gets your incantation that he was doing with his tail swipe. Unfortunately, the one where he flies in the air, you can get that, but not as an incantation, as an act of war. But not until pretty deep into the DLC. It's a long, long time away. However, with that, guys, we are completely wrapped up in Limgrave, besides your dungeon here, the Cave of Knowledge. Or Stranded Graveyard, rather. And then you have 2 nighttime bosses and Margit, who's blocking the castle. So that's what we do next episode, taking out all of our bosses, knocking out that dungeon. Margit's blocking the castle. Now, we're not going to do this until after Weeping Peninsula, but that way, when we knock out Weeping, we can just jump right to our legacy dungeon, and we'll, you know, good to go. So, we're going to jump over to Gill Lake North to set us up for the next episode. We're going to start off by our 2 nighttime bosses, Margit, Tree Sentinel, and, you know, just get all this wrapped up. So, with that, we are going to wrap up here. I hope you guys are enjoying the walkthrough. As mentioned, if you can't get past him, just put a marker there. Go back later. He's going to be there the whole game. You don't have to worry about it. But with that, we will see y'all back here shortly.